Usually, when someone's summoned into another world, their class turns out to be a hero, and their destiny is to save the world from the demon lord. But Oda Akira isn't that kind of guy. He's the kind of person people forget is even there. His quiet, unassuming nature, though, turns out to be his greatest strength. Because when his entire class gets swept away into a fantasy world, Akira slips easily into a new role, one nobody expected, the silent assassin. Our story begins on a stormy night. Somewhere in the darkness, an assassin was on a mission, his blade ready for blood. But then, a chill ran down his spine. He felt a presence behind him, a presence so silent, so suffocating, that his instincts screamed danger. When he turned, he saw him, the silent assassin. Realizing escape was impossible, the assassin drew his weapons and attacked. Needles flew through the rain, but Akira's body moved faster than sight. He used a skill to evade them, leaping down from the shadows. Their blades clashed on a rooftop, sparks flying between raindrops. In a single motion, Akira disarmed his opponent, but the assassin quickly drew a hidden dagger and lunged. Yet the moment the blade should have connected, Akira vanished. A heartbeat later, he appeared behind him. What followed wasn't a fight, it was a dismantling. Akira broke his leg, stabbed his elbow, and before the man could even scream, his own blade returned to finish him. With the threat eliminated, Akira moved swiftly into the mansion. Inside, his target slept peacefully, unaware of the shadow closing in. The silent assassin raised his blade, ready to strike. Then time seemed to rewind. We go back to before Akira ever came to this world, in an ordinary classroom. Students were chatting and laughing. Tsukasa, the class president, was busy with his paperwork, while the kind-hearted Shirori helped others with theirs. Nearby, Asahina noticed Akira quietly reading a light novel. Nane sneaked up behind him and asked what he was reading. Without looking up, Akira said he just read whatever he could find for free. Nane asked him to recommend something good next time, then left. To Akira, conversations always felt like mini-crises, but the real crisis was just about to begin. Suddenly, Akira's phone glitched, and a glowing magic circle appeared beneath the entire class. In an instant, the room was gone. When they opened their eyes, they were standing in a grand castle. A voice echoed, and an old man appeared, telling them the king wished to speak. Before long, he introduced himself as the ruler of the Retis Kingdom, the largest nation on the human continent of Morrigan. He explained that the kingdom was at war with the demon lord, and that only a hero summoned from another world could save them. Akira's mind went blank. He'd read this exact setup in countless stories, but never thought he'd live one. To identify the hero among them. Each student was told to place their hand on a magic crystal and silently think the word status. The first student tried it and got the class animal trainer. The second, Yuki disenchanter, another one Tomoya, got knight. Shirori turned out to be a healer. The old man explained that everyone could see their own status without the crystal as well. Nanes checked and got wind mage. Curious, he asked Akira about his. Reluctantly, Akira replied that he was an assassin. But when Akira looked at his stats, something didn't add up. His numbers were far higher than anyone else's. His skill conceal presence was already maxed out. Finally, Tsukasa, the class president, stepped up. When he touched the crystal, the words, "chosen hero," appeared, and everyone cheered. It made sense. Tsukasa was smart, athletic, popular. The old man praised him, noting that even at level 1, his attack power was double that of ordinary people, but Akira couldn't focus. His anxiety grew as he realized his own stats were far beyond even Tsukasa's. Something was wrong. Not wanting to draw attention, he quietly activated Conceal Presence. Even Nanes, standing beside him, couldn't sense him anymore. When everyone finished, they were escorted to their rooms for the night. Still cloaked, Akira followed at a distance. On the way, he noticed something hidden in the ceiling, a small orb. A surveillance camera. His suspicions deepened. The king was hiding something. But what Akira didn't know was that someone had already sensed him despite his concealment. In his room, Akira found a set of clothes and basic supplies. Deciding to investigate, he slipped out into the night. For the first time, he saw the city beneath the stars, beautiful, alien, alive. He scaled a tower and used his concealment to eavesdrop on the king and the princess. He heard the king ordering her never to let the heroes near the royal archives, lest they learn too much. After the princess left, Akira considered assassinating him right there. But in the end, he couldn't. He lowered his blade and disappeared into the night. The next morning at breakfast, Akira thought about revealing everything he'd overheard, but decided against it. Nobody would believe him. Then Tsukasa stood up, announcing that since they'd already been summoned, he wanted to grow stronger and defeat the Demon Lord. The others agreed without hesitation. Akira couldn't believe how blindly they trusted the king. Later that day, they were introduced to their instructors, the Knight Commander, Saran Matrai, and his vice, Gillis. Saran informed them that in 1 month, they'd enter the great labyrinth of Cantonin. Until then, they would train. But while the others sparred, Akira slipped away to gather more intel. It didn't take long before Saran found him. Out for a walk, he asked casually. Akira froze. His concealment was still active. How could this man see him? Saran smiled and explained that his eyes could perceive heat signatures. He assured Akira that he wouldn't report him to the king. Curious and cautious, Akira asked why. Saran sighed and said it was complicated. When Akira admitted he wanted to learn more about this world, its magic, its skills, Saran agreed to teach him. In exchange, he wanted to hear about Akira's world, and so their secret mentorship began. While Gillis oversaw the other students' training, Saran personally trained Akira, testing, refining, and pushing him beyond limits. One night, Gillis confronted Saran, annoyed that he was spending all his time on Akira. Saran revealed that Akira's concealed presence was maxed out, a feat only achieved once before by the first hero. Gillis was stunned. Right then, Akira entered, holding an old book. He handed it to Saran, explaining he'd found it in the royal archives. When Saran opened it, he smiled faintly. It was one of his own, disguised as a cookbook. Inside were encrypted plans for a coup. Saran's expression turned grim. He told Akira that the king was trying to rewrite the world's laws, a pursuit that would demand unimaginable sacrifice. But the knights owed a blood debt to the royal family, leaving Saran powerless to act. Akira then confessed that on the night of their summoning, he'd tried to kill the king but couldn't go through with it. Saran commended him, saying that sparing a life was the right choice. Even if his class was assassin, he wasn't bound to kill. Akira felt a strange relief. For the first time, he admitted he didn't want to return to his world as a murderer. When Akira asked why Saran was helping him, Saran replied, "Because you didn't just go with the flow. You questioned the story." Akira felt embarrassed by the praise. Saran chuckled and joked that Akira could help him with his coup before going home. Time passed quickly. After a month, their training came to an end, and the heroes were sent to challenge the great labyrinth of Cantonin. The people of Retis gathered to cheer them on, but Akira felt a piercing gaze from the crowd. He followed it and found a cloaked girl glaring at him. When he asked why, she replied coldly that heroes knew nothing of the sacrifices made to summon them. Then she leaves, saying to find her after he discovered the truth for himself. Inside the labyrinth, the group fought hordes of monsters. When one student accidentally triggered a trap, even more enemies flooded in. Akira urged retreat, and Saran agreed. Channeling divine power into his blade, he unleashed a flash of holy lightning that carved a path for escape. But as they fled, another horde appeared. Remembering the smoke bomb the princess had given him, Tsukasa threw it to keep the monsters away, but instead, it summoned something far worse, a towering minotaur. When Akira and the others arrived, they found Tsukasa wounded. Akira rushed in, dodging the beast's attacks and striking its neck, but his dagger shattered against its hide. He fell back, barely landing on his feet. Tsukasa tried to stand, insisting he must protect them as the hero, but Akira stopped him. "We've trained for a month," he said. "You're not alone anymore." Tsukasa faltered, burdened by guilt. Akira quickly ordered Yuki to use her dispel magic on him. When she did, a dark curse broke free from Tsukasa's body. Akira shouted, then ran to Saran. "It's time," he said. Saran smirked, drew his sword, and raised it high. "Then let's end this." He called upon his divine skill, lightning's flash, striking the Minotaur with a blinding surge of power. And as the monster's body convulsed in paralysis, Akira vanished into its shadow, activating his own skill, shadow magic. And from that moment on, the silent assassin finally embraced his name. Akira activates his shadow magic, and a dark figure appears at his feet. He channels it into the Minotaur, piercing the beast all over its body before reeling it into the darkness. But then, Akira's magic suddenly goes out of control. His own shadows surge violently, threatening to consume him. Just as he starts to lose control, Saran appears and helps stabilize his power. Once the storm calms, Akira thanks him for the assist. Back from the dungeon, Saran and Akira discuss the strange nature of his shadow magic. Saran admits he's never heard of such a skill before. It's powerful, but incredibly unstable. Akira agrees, acknowledging how hard it is to control. Setting that aside, Saran presents him with a katana forged by the first hero. Since the current hero already wields a holy sword, he wants Akira to have something worthy. More importantly, he warns him to hide it well, because he stole it straight from the royal armory. Akira draws the blade and sees the name engraved on it, Yado no Kami, alongside a message wishing that the sword finds its successor and guides him in his hour of need. Akira then informs Saran that the curse afflicting the hero still refuses to be dispelled. Hearing that, Saran's expression darkens. He already suspects who the cursor might be. That night, the princess stands before a cursed object, whispering venom at Tsukasa, calling him a false hero. Suddenly, Akira appears behind her, destroys the object, and seizes it. The princess demands to know why he entered her chambers uninvited, but Akira points his blade at her throat, telling her no true lady uses curses. Only a witch does. When he demands to know why she's doing it, she answers coldly that everything she does is for the king. Seeing no benefit in pressing further, Akira retreats. After he leaves, the princess reveals several more curse objects hidden across the room, each targeting someone else. Meanwhile, Akira brings the destroyed curse to Saran, frustrated that the king still hasn't given up. He tells Saran that even after confronting the princess, risking his own identity, she wouldn't give a straight answer. Saran sighs, revealing that the princess is just a pawn to the king now. He warns Akira not to stay in the castle that night, since she'll likely curse the rest of their classmates next. Hearing that, Akira wishes his real world had people like Saran. Half-jokingly, Saran says Akira should take him there when he returns home, making Akira immediately take it back with a smirk. The next morning, Akira wakes to the sound of chaos outside. He rushes out to see Tsukasa standing over a lifeless body, Commander Saran's. Akira is frozen in shock. Before he can process it, his classmates start accusing him of murder, claiming the dagger used to stab Saran is his. Akira argues that his dagger shattered in the dungeon, but no one listens. He quickly realizes that the princess's curse has taken hold of them. Even Tsukasa tries to defend him, but the king declares Akira guilty and orders his execution. Realizing he's been set up, Akira vanishes using his concealment skill and escapes the knights. He then seeks out Vice Captain Gillis, who informs him that the Real killers are the king's assassins, the Night Ravens, and that they're now hunting him. Gillis tells him to take the provisions Saran left behind and flee the kingdom. With a heavy heart, Akira gathers Saran's belongings and leaves the kingdom behind. That night, the princess reports to the king that she successfully cursed everyone except the hero, and that they're now ready to declare war on the east. The king orders her to send the Night Ravens after Akira to ensure he's eliminated. Meanwhile, Akira hides deep within the dungeon, remembering Saran's advice that it's the safest place to vanish. He recalls their conversations about how the monsters grow stronger with each level and how concealment won't fool beasts with heightened senses. Day after day, Akira trains relentlessly, honing his assassination skills and pushing deeper underground to reach level 100. Every 10 floors, he faces a powerful boss, often getting knocked down but always rising again. Using his shadow magic, he overwhelms them one by one. Eventually, exhaustion catches up and he collapses. Just before losing consciousness, he hears a strange voice disabling his magic and healing his body. Meanwhile, back at the kingdom, Tsukasa gathers his cursed classmates and insists they leave the city. Most refuse, still under the princess's control. Only Asahina, Yuki, and Cheyenne agree to follow. Others followed afterwards too. Surprisingly, they encounter no resistance when leaving. Tsukasa asks why they chose to come, and Yuki explains that everyone who followed him seems to be free from the curse. Asahina adds that his hazy memory recalls breaking crystal shards in an unfamiliar room while holding a katana. Though he has no idea where it came from the shadows, Gillis watches the heroes group depart, relieved that his manipulation magic was strong enough to free them. Asahina, however, quietly regrets not siding with Akira. Curse or not, a flashback shows Asahina returning home from school, stumbling upon Akira working at a construction site. Akira begs him to keep it secret, especially from his sister, who attends the same school as a first year. Asahina agrees and is shocked to learn Akira even has a sister. When he shows Akira a picture of his own, both are surprised to find that their sisters are actually friends. Deep within the dungeon, Akira awakens, surprised to feel no pain. He checks his status window and is stunned. His HP is nearly full, and his shadow magic has jumped from level 3 to 5. Though confused, he presses onward, descending to floor 75. There, a slime suddenly drops from the ceiling. Akira reacts instantly, slashing it apart, only to watch an elf girl emerge from its dissolving body. He activates a new skill called World Eyes, and a flood of information pours into his mind. The data surge nearly overwhelms him, forcing him to cancel the skill before his head explodes. The elf awakens, disoriented. Akira notes that her HP is critically low, barely 2%, and that she possesses the same skill as him. When she asks where they are, he tells her they're on floor 75 before she collapses again. Concerned, Akira carries her to a safer spot on floor 69. Later, she wakes up starving. Akira smiles and offers her water, then food, which she devours like she hasn't eaten in days. When she finishes, she asks why they're on floor 69 instead of 75. Akira explains that he moved her closer to a water source. She warns him not to touch her inappropriately since she's of royal blood, and Akira quickly assures her he's not interested, telling her to get some rest. They'll need it tomorrow. The next day, they travel together, helping each other clear floors until they reach level 80. There, they find the boss chamber and enter. Inside awaits a massive dragon. The elf uses gravity magic to restrain it while Akira conceals his presence to strike, but the dragon senses him and sends him flying. The elf shouts for him to diffuse his mana to avoid detection. Not fully understanding, Akira improvises. He manipulates the surrounding shadows, confusing the dragon before striking from above. The final blow lands clean, and the dragon collapses. Impressed, the elf asks how he did it, and Akira replies that he simply drew power from the ambient mana around them. She's stunned that he can even do that. But before they can rest, the dragon's body begins to glow, signaling that their next challenge is just about to begin. That wraps up today's recap. What do you think about this episode? Drop your thought in the comment. And if you liked this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you never miss the next one.